Hello, this video is about variables on both sides. So you've been learning on how to solve an equation, solving for x, getting x all by itself, but now there's going to be x's on both sides. So we want to look at some examples on how we can actually solve these if that happens. So let's take a look at our first example. Our first example is going to be 15x plus 6 equals 10x plus 21. Now, because we have variables on both sides and we have numbers on both sides, it really does not matter where you start. In this particular case, you can start in any one of them. So you could move the 15x, you could move the 6, you could move the 10x, or you could move the 21. It doesn't matter. So realistically, there are 4 ways to start this problem. Any which way you want to start it is totally fine. So I'm going to start it by moving the 10x to the left side. And by doing that, because it is a positive 10x, the opposite operation will be to subtract. And we want to make sure that we subtract it to its like term on the other side. And what we see is that we have 15x minus 10x gives us 5x. The 6 is still there. 10x minus 10x is 0. And we're left with 21 on the right. Now, we have moved the x's to the left, so because we decided to move the x's to the left, we now have to move the constants to the right. So we need to move the 6 that's on the left to the right side of the equation. It's a plus, so again the opposite operation would be minus or subtraction. And so we have 5x, 6 minus 6 is 0. And then 21 minus 6. So again, you can do these in your head or you can do these with a calculator. But 21 minus 6 gives us 15. And now we still don't have x by itself, but at least we've gotten to the point where x's are on one side and constants are on the other. That's our main goal. And then now we have to get rid of the 5 that's with the x. And so it's 5 times x. So the opposite of multiply would be to divide by 5. And so over here, 5 divided by 5 is 1x. And 15 divided by 5 is 3. So that's our answer. Now, how can we know if that's the answer that works? Well, we can always plug it back into the x's in the original equation and see if it works. All right, let's try another example. We're going to do 3x minus 4 equals 2x minus 10. And again, it does not matter where we start. We just need to start somewhere. So the last example, I moved the variable on the right to the left. So I'm going to start by moving the minus 4 over to the right. And so since it's minus 4, the opposite operation is going to be plus 4. So we always use the opposite operation that's there. And so we have 3x, and then negative 4 plus 4 is 0. We have the 2x, and then negative 10 plus 4 is a negative 6. Now, because I moved the constant to the right, that means the variables have to go to the left side. So I need to move the 2x over. Since it's a positive number, I'm going to do the opposite, which would mean subtract it. So I'm going to subtract 2x to both sides. 3x minus 2x gives us 1x. 2x minus 2x is 0. And then we have the minus 6 on the right. And because we are done, because we don't have anything that's next to the x equals negative 6 is our answer. And again, we can plug that in where x is in the original to see if it works. And always remember your order of operations when you do that. All right, one more example. Let's do a little bit harder one. We have 7x minus 3/8 equals 6x minus 5/8. And again, we can start anywhere. It does not matter. So in this case, let's move the 6x to the left. So it's a positive 6x, so I'm going to subtract 6x from both sides. And so I have 7x minus 6x leaves me with 1x. We have the minus 3/8. 6x minus 6x is 0. And we have the minus 5/8 or negative 5/8 on the right. And then because I moved the variables to the left, I need to move the constants to the right. So I have to move the 3/8 to the right. It's a minus, so the opposite would be plus. So I'm going to add 3/8 to both sides. And so we have x, negative 3/8 plus 3/8 is 0. And then negative 5/8 plus 3/8. Now remember, when we add or subtract fractions, we have to have a like denominator. And in this case, we do. And so we get to keep the denominator of 8. And then we add the numerators. So negative 5 plus 3 would give us a negative 2/8. And then we want to reduce our fractions. We always want to make sure they look nice and pretty. And so we know that 2 goes into both of those. So we want to divide both of those by 2. So negative 2 divided by 2 gives us negative 1. And then 8 divided by 2 gives us 4. So our answer is negative 1/4. And again, we can go ahead and plug those into the original equation where x is anytime we see x, and see that that left side equals the right side, and then we know we have the right answer. So this one is for the lesson that are variables on both sides. I hope this is helpful to you, and make sure to ask questions if you run into them. Thanks.